and all the faculty members and KN-MITE. I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our alumni, Mr. Aditya Pandey from CS branch of Pass Out Year 2017 to attend the webinar and motivate our students for their success. Now, hand over to Aditya.
Hello everyone, how are you? I want you guys to use the chat as much as possible to give me continuous feedback of what I am talking now. Okay. All right. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ayush ma'am, and everyone at the college for giving me this opportunity to discuss about applications of IoT. So it's genuinely an honor for me to express my opinion to you guys and the faculty member as well. So a brief introduction about myself. My name is Aditya and I've been working at Tuyo from 2017. That is my final year of college. And Tuyo is a smart location-aware audio guide application available for mobile devices that you guys can access. More about this we can discuss after the end of this speaking session. Okay. So, are you guys able to properly hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So, probably Gargi and Sunidhi will be able to better explain all the specific details of what you guys are going to implement using Arduino and its specific applications. I just want to address a few, let's say, misconceptions that goes around in our industry, what IoT is not. So on that point, I'd like to start on what IoT is not about. So first thing first, it's not a new technology. It's not a new programming language. It's not a new framework. It's nothing new, right? What's new about it is the classification. So when I started preparing for my speech or the speaking note, I just quickly did a Google search just to verify what I'm saying. So Google exactly returns this specific definition. I'm paraphrasing. The interconnection via the Internet of Computing devices embedded in everyday objects, enabling them to send and receive data. So that is pretty much what it is. It's just a classification of everyday objects. Everyday objects being the machinery we all use on day-to-day basis. What we use on day-to-day basis. We use AC, geyser, car, microwave, etc. Now you just add an ability of internet to these devices. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to undermine the concept of IoT, because just by adding the internet facility to these devices, the applicability and the vast applicability of solutions that you guys can create becomes truly, literally endless. Let's just take an example. I want you guys to communicate. Like I have given example of geyser, fridge and camera. What else you guys use on day-to-day basis that is not already connected to internet? Just an example. Or like just say yes if you are guys using these devices. Are you guys using AC on day-to-day basis, especially these days? Type yes on chat box. All right. So what AC currently does is, you guys already know, it cools the device, cools the room obviously, and it has a couple of functionality. Using remote, you can turn it on, off, set an alarm, some specific sort of cooling method, etc. Right? Right. So let's just take an example. You can, like you have already programmed all these features that I have mentioned in an AC. Right. Now you have added ability to connect it to internet. So let's try to visualize what are the possibilities now. Now you can actually get the weather information of the AC, where the AC is installed. Like for example, in Delhi it's very hot, it's 40 degrees Celsius. Now AC can optimize the cooling according to it. What else can we do? We can make AC to communicate with our mobile devices, and because we obviously keep our mobile devices to ourselves all the time, now AC knows where we are, and it knows if it needs to be turned on before even we reach home. Like we are 2 kilometers away and driving towards the location of our house, and AC will get turned on automatically. So features like access to weather, proximity of location are just just singular example. You can practically access any data of the internet if you have that capability to that devices. But coming back to my original point, that it's not a new technology. Now what you are guys what you are guys trying to implement in that AC or any other everyday object, you will utilize already available solutions, already available programming language. IoT word itself is a very general classification of things, general things that have now internet. All right. So far what I have explained, do you guys have any feedback on it? Any questions?
Do you have any questions from audience, participants?
Yes, Rituraj ma'am.
While you guys are framing your questions, I just want to add let's say just one more thing to the discussion. I want you guys to, whenever you are making solution not specific to IoT, don't think about that you have to make it in a specific domain. Don't think that you have to create a solution for IoT. Maybe you want to, but just start with the problem statement. This is the problem. Okay, I just want to AC to be more smart. Start with that problem statement, identify the problem. Now break it down problem in several segments and tackle it individually. So what happens is maybe you realize you don't even need internet capability to solve that problem. So don't get hyped around a single technology. Understand the problem statement, draft solutions around it. Why I'm saying this? Because of the major challenge that IoT and all the internet connected devices, even our smartphone, our smart speakers, smart devices, smart TV faces. So the problem is privacy challenges. The privacy challenges are you don't want all of the devices around you to be connected all the time to the internet. Why? Maybe it has some sort of vulnerability that exposes you to some harm. Maybe it can record you whenever you're not even speaking, not even trying to record it from it. So problem statements like this, you don't want internet to all the devices you have around you. So what other alternate are available for internet? There is no actually exact alternate for the internet, but for specific problem statement, like if you want to communicate to and from only from a single device, you can use Bluetooth, you can use Wi-Fi, local network, not the internet one. Also, if you just want to communicate very small piece of information, like just some sort of binary data, like turn it off, turn it on, there's this thing called Zigbee, I think. I'm just typing it on chat, Zigbee. So these are the alternatives if you want to communicate to and from the IoT device and to some other form of medium. So okay, we have a question here. What if everything connected to internet? So IoT and wireless security has been increased. So, right. So Rohit said that what are the, I'm trying to understand what are the challenges in the environment where we have continuously increasing vulnerabilities around us, right? That's what I understood. So obviously, Rohit, that is what I was talking about. If we have everything around us obviously connected all the time to the internet, the chances of exposure gets increased a lot. So it doesn't mean we don't want to use the internet in the devices where it's really necessary. And perhaps we want to make solution for the IoT segment where you are providing some sort of framework or some method to make it more secure than it already is, right? So guys, maybe you want to focus on securing the IoT ecosystem itself rather than making a new, just copying stuff out of free air, right? So that's about it. There's a question from Rohit again. Should we increase the use of hardware buttons to cope these issues? Hardware buttons, there is just two kind of ecosystems we compare to IoT. So it's an isolated system where you have some set of features programmed already into it, and then you have IoT, where you can not only connect to internet, you can even update the whole software out of it and make something do new or completely different. So there is some benefits in case of isolated system. Obviously, first being nothing goes out of the device without or with your consent. It will always be in that ecosystem. Then there is IoT, where the challenges become very different from the isolated system. So buttons specifically won't provide some increased security, but if it's not necessary to communicate all the time to the internet, prefer it not using it. Anybody else?
Is there any other query?
Rohit, you can mail me all the questions. I'll get the answer because we are less time and we have participants. So let him finish first. Aditya Pandey. Aditya Pandey, you first finish whatever you wanted to speak, and at the end of the chat, you have done.
Yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to talk about, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So it's a very prestigious moment for us. We know about Aditya Pandey, our department, from CSC department, everyone know about Aditya Pandey. Because of him, we were able to approach Tech Mahindra, and we have signed some MOU, and Aditya Pandey was the person who achieved first award in hackathon by Tech Mahindra, right? So it was a team of 4 members. And we are so happy to have you in this webinar just because of some technical issues and unavailability of Manish sir. Sorry to say, Aditya, कि आपको थोड़ा जल्दी जाना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? Because you have your own appointments in your organization, so we can understand that thing also. So thanks for coming here. Thanks to join us, and it was really a mesmerizing moment for us that we have Luminous with us, and you have a very proud history of your knowledge and your coding technology. So we just wanted to convey you a message that please share your mail ID here so that if students want to ask some questions, so he or she can give question on your mail ID.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am became very too generous. I did no sort of thing. I did what I just wanted to do, just pursue my passion. And thank you so much again for giving me this opportunity. I hope students and everyone else got the opportunity to learn something new from today's session. I will share my email ID over this chat.
So would you be continuing here, Aditya?
Ma'am, I will be here just for, I think, 5 minutes, and then I'll have to leave.
Right. So we will be continuing here with our speakers from students, right? So at that moment when you feel that you are required to go, you may move from the webinar, right? Okay, fine. Right. Thank you so much, Aditya. We are overwhelmed. Thank you so much. Sonia, now you
Anytime.
can proceed. You can
Yeah.
moderate.
Okay. Today our topic is thank you Aditya. Today our topic is on Internet of Things. Now Sunidhi and Gargi are the speaker. So I hand over this to Gargi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good morning to all my faculty members, respected alumni, sir, and my dear batchmates. Today, I'm going to tell you about information about what is Internet of Things. So if we talk in simple words, what is Internet of Things? Softwares, network connectivity, and make them responsive. In our internet to establish connection to and between electronic devices. As we all know that the Internet of Things is a system interrelated computing devices, mechanical and that are provided with unique identifiers and the ability to transfer data over a network without requiring human to human or human to computer interaction. Most people neither want nor to need dive into the nitty-gritty of IoT, but I will provide you with a simple explanation with the Internet of Things and how it may impact you, the Internet of Things or IoT. For short, is beyond computers and smartphones to a whole range of things. So, Internet of Things, about extending the power of the Internet beyond computers and the smartphone and environment. Those connected things are used to gather information and send information back both. Before we jump in, note that the Internet of Things can and will be used interchangeably. The Internet of Things simply can say non-technically or simply. It might be on desktop, on your mobile, maybe a tablet, but whatever device you are using, it's most definitely connected to the internet. If we are taking this session, then most probably all of you connected with internet. Without internet, it is not possible to take this Zoom meeting and continue with the session. So, an internet connection is a wonderful thing. It gives us all sort of benefits that just were not possible before. If you are old enough, you can think about your old cell phone before it was a smartphone. You could call and you could text, sure, but you can read any book, watch any movie, or listen to any song, all in just the palm of your hand. And that's just to name a few of the incredible things your smartphone can do. Let us take an example that if we all are using smartphones now, smartphones are connecting things to the internet, yields many amazing understand what are the benefits of connecting things to the internet, why would we even want to connect everything to the internet, and why even IoT matters. When something is connected to the internet, that means that it can send information, it can receive information, or it can do both of the tasks simultaneously. This ability to send or receive information makes things smart and good. Let's use smartphones again as an example. Right now, if you want to listen up to your song from any place in the world, but it's not because your phone actually has every song in the world stored on it. It's all possible because every song in the world is stored somewhere else in any server. But your phone can send information asking for that song and then receive information streaming that song on your phone. To be smart, a thing doesn't need to have super storage or a supercomputer inside of it. All a thing has to do is connect to a super storage or a supercomputer. Being connected is always as awesome. In the Internet of Things, all the things that are being connected to the internet can be put into three categories. The things that collect information and then send it, the things that receive information then act on it, and the things which can do the both. All three of these have enormous benefits and that can we can see how the IoT gateway, IoT works and how it works as a bridge in between. So IoT architecture, if we talk about IoT architecture, we firstly know that what is cloud computing. If we talk about cloud computing, as we all know that cloud computing is an application based software infrastructure that stores data on remote servers. Whatever your data is will be stored on remote servers, which can be accessed through the internet. Cloud computing service providers usually maintain multiple copies of the data, mitigate instances on cloud or store our data on cloud. Can it is data is secured? When using cloud storage services is to look for one that offers local encryption for your data. This provides an additional layer to your for your security, since decryption will be required before you can be granted access to the data. We can also encrypt the data before putting it into the cloud. Encrypt the data before putting it into the cloud means if you choose not to use a cloud service that will help you encrypt the data, you can use a third party tool to perform the encryption, and all you got to do is download a cloud protection app which will allow you to apply passwords and generate secret key sequences to your files before you actually upload them to the cloud. You can also use a strong password like two-step verification or strong passwords. If we talk about what are the advantages of IoT, how it is advantageous in many ways. So as we all know that it can gather rich data, enhance security measures, as I told you in previous slide, reduction in operational cost, use of smart devices. If we talk about a smart system and from which things IoT is driven, IoT is driven by the combination of sensors, connectivity, people, and process. If we talk about what are sensors, in our next slides, there is what are sensors. So generally, we all know that sensors is a device which make us enable to change in an environment by itself. A sensor is useless, but when we use it in an electronic device, it plays a key vital role. A sensor is able to measure physical phenomena like temperature, pressure, humidity, lux, and many more things, and transform it into a electric signal. So if I will give you an example, so if you want to learn more about sensor, how it collect data and send information, look, sensors could be temperature sensors, motion sensors, moisture sensor, air quality sensor, light sensors, you name it further. These sensors, along with the connection, allows us to automatically collect information from the environment. In turn, allows us to make more intelligent decisions. If let us take an example of soil moisture sensor. It can be more expensive for them, or watering too little, which can be expensive loss of crops. The farmer can ensure what the crops exactly want. Right amount of water, more money for farmers, and more food for the world. Just as humans, we are able to sense things with the power of hearing, smell, touch, and sight, as same as sensors allows machine to make sense of the world. Whether it is simple as sending the command turn on, it is as complex as sending a 3D model to a 3D printer. We know that we can tell machines what to do for things arises when things can do both of the above. Things that collect information and send it, but also receive information and act on it. or it can do the both. If previous I told you about farming example, if the sensors can collect information about the soil moisture to tell the farmer how much to water the crop, but you don't actually need the farmer. If we take the irrigation, where irrigation means that the supply of water to land crops to help growth, typically by means of channels. Here I am going to connect everything. Okay, you can take it a step further too, that if the irrigation system receives information about the weather from its internet connection, it can also know when it's going to rain and decide not to water the crops today because they will be watered by the rain anyways. And it doesn't stop here. All this information about the soil moisture, how much the irrigation system is watering the crops, how well the crops actually grow, can be collected and sent to supercomputers that run amazing algorithms that can make sense of all this information. And that's just one kind of sensor. And in another, sensors like light, air, temperature, and these algorithms can run much and much and much more. With dozen, 100,000 of farms all collecting this information, these algorithms can create incredible insights into how to make crops grow the best and helping to feed the world growing population. IoT mainly matters because IoT provides business people better insight into and control over the 99% of objects and environment that remain beyond the reach of the internet. And by doing so, IoT allows business and people to be more connected to the world around them and to do more meaningful and higher level work. As we all know about connectivity, we all use Facebook, Skype, Instagram, Zoom, and many applications to connect with people. So basically, what is connectivity means? When we are connected through the internet, when we can basically connect with any device. Connectivity technology means a technology service features to provide in the device like laptops, iPads, iPhones, mobile devices to be able to connect with each other devices and systems. There are two types of connectivity features, as we all know about them, that wireless features are there in connectivity and wired features are there in connectivity. So if we talk about wireless feature, what things comes under between wireless features, then there are Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC, and many more things. If we talk about wired feature, USB, network cable, HDMI cable, then the people finally use these things after the processing. How this flow goes on, it is kind of a cycle. If we talk about that, how devices take these things, firstly these things taken from the devices and then it is stored in a gateway or framework. Then it goes to the cloud. And as we all know, cloud is a sophisticated set of networks. Then it comes back to your devices as you need. Whenever you will need, you can track that data with the help of internet, whatever you stored in that cloud data. What are the benefits of IoT? Many people ask that how company will boom up or increase their productivity improvement with the help of IoT. If we talk about that, IoT allows the monitoring and control of the different processes which optimize the different operation that can increase productivity and efficiency. If we take an example that how IoT works in our real life, how IoT mainly works, then we use IoT in our daily life. That when we go to malls or many other places, banks, nowadays it is everywhere that smart security systems, smart locks, smart doorbells, smart home hubs that control lighting, home heating and cooling. And in our homes, appliances are also smart, as sir told you earlier, that stoves, refrigerator, washers, dryers, coffee machine, slow cookers, and the day will come that cookers will say that food is cooked, please switch off the gas. So we use it Now we will talk about our project, which is a smart disinfection and sanitization tunnel. We make it with the help of IoT and with the help of Arduino UNO. Now I am handling this session to Sunidhi. Now she will tell you further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gargi. Thank you so much. Good afternoon to all of you. I, Sunidhi Singh, CS student of BTech second year. As we know that nowadays COVID-19 is a big problem, not only big problem, it is a big challenge all over the world. Every day new cases of corona are getting in India. Things are moving so fast with COVID-19. In order to protect humanity or health, our economic rate down exponentially. This is a big problem for our country. Millions of our workers in this country are facing these problems. The health and safety of our employee are very important to us. Being as youth and BTech student of India, we should support our country in trouble in order to provide best possible protection against COVID-19 for our workers, students, public, which are working in the company, studying in the school, and so on. So we have an idea to reduce it. We have IoT based project idea that is disinfection and sanitization tunnel. Let's we move on the next slide. The main idea of this project is to make the tunnel that can try and prevent the spread of COVID-19. The disinfection and sanitization tunnel is prepared in order to sanitize people within 15 seconds from any possible bacteria. The disinfected solution used consists of a combination of sodium hypochlorite, that is NaOCl, and water to sanitizing the surfaces. It can disinfect a person fully from head to toe in a time span of just 15 seconds. And the solution used is completely harmless. The total cost of the tunnel is approximately rupees 30,000 or up to $400. Okay, let's move on the next slide. Mostly we can use this tunnel at public places, that is office, shopping malls, airports, bus stops, railway station, public station, police station, college, hospital, colony, etc. and etc. Okay, now I move on next slide. Now, before it's working, let's see its model. Here, in this diagram, we can see how will be the actual model of this tunnel. No, not so tough. This is simple model of tunnel. Here, see, controller placed at the entry gate, which detect people either enter or exit the tunnel. And also here we can see the spray nozzle placed between the tunnel. And water pump and solution tank situated at the last of the tunnel. Now, we have to talk about its working. We have 1 HP water pump machine placed on the side of each tunnel, which have solution of 0.4% NaOCl with 100 liter water. As we know that this is automatic machine. It senses whether anyone is entered into the tunnel. As anyone enter into the tunnel, the water pump gets start for 15 seconds so that user can pass through the tunnel. And if there is no one in the tunnel, the pump will be off so that we can save water and electricity also. This spray protects citizens from catching bacteria for a period of at least 60 minutes, that is 1 hour. Now, let's move on the next slide. Here, we can see some hardware structure which is used to this tunnel. See, T-joint, auto drain valve, mist nozzle, micro tubbling, wall fix clamp, elbow, and clap tie. Okay, now I further move on the next slide. We are used Arduino to make this project. First of all, we talk about Arduino. What is this? What is the role? Why we use? There are so many questions. So let's start. Arduino acts as the brain of the system and processes the data from the sensors. The Arduino UNO is an open source microcontroller board based on the microchip. The board is equipped with a set of digital and analog input-output pin that may be interface various expansion board and other circuits. The Arduino board is a classical example of open source hardware that can be programmed and customized use with various operating systems. It commonly used to transmit IoT data to the cloud for analyze, store, and processing. Open source software is widely adopted throughout the world, but open source hardware is still undergoing research. Sometimes called free open source hardware, OSH refers to the firmware, chip, motherboard, and sensors that are available for programming and customizing without any issue of proper license and disturbance. Open source hardware is commonly used in electronic and communication engineering. Arduino is an OSH and electronic platform for real-time application. It is available in many variants, can be selected depending upon the time of application for which it is required. There are different boards available that can program for a specific application. Arduino boards are available for beginners, enhanced features, IoT, education, etc. Arduino UNO is one of the widely used microcontroller board for beginners. This board can easily program using the Arduino IDE. We have to talk about why we prepare Arduino for Internet of Things applications. Okay, Arduino can be connected with live platform of Internet of Things by using Wi-Fi or similar network-based chip. You know, ESP8266. It is a very popular device for communication with the internet that can be easily interfaced with Arduino microcontroller board. The ESP8266 Wi-Fi chip is a very low in cost and can be directly connected with the Arduino board to establish communication with the real cloud. Let's see, how can we store sensors data in IoT platforms? There are a number of IoT platforms that can be used for the storage of real-time streaming sensor data from Arduino and similar boards. Once the circuit is created using Arduino, the signals can be transmitted and stored directly into the IoT platforms. These open source IoT platforms can be used for storage, processing, prediction, and visualization of the data recorded from the sensor on the Arduino board. Okay, we can see here the circuit diagram of this project. So first, we talk about all components we are using this circuit diagram. We have two sensors, we can see in this diagram, and two power relays, two power supplies, one 12-volt power, 220 AC voltage supply, and we have one high pressure water pump. Now I'm going to explain its connectivity. So first, both sensors connected to the Arduino at pin number 2 and 3 through yellow wire. We can see from here. As we know, Arduino used to give 5-volt output. Both sensors, as we know, Arduino used to give 5-volt output. Both sensors have AC voltage supply, so it connected with power relay via Arduino through red wire, and sensors connected to the power relay via Arduino through black wire for earthing. We can see here. Also, Arduino and power relay directly connected through yellow wire. It works as switch, which connect the whole circuit or disconnect. Here we can see a blue color power relay. Blue color power relay structure based on OR and NOR gate. So it is used to give 12 volt output. Blue color power relay directly connected to the 12 volt supply to activate itself, and AC supply connected with second power relay. Finally, 1 HP water pump used 220 AC supply for activation or working. 220 volt AC supply connected to the power relay and water pump to the power relay. Now its connectivity complete here. Let's see how Arduino connect and work the other devices. The water pump actually works by detecting the infrared rays. Whenever the human body come near the motion sensor, so as the human body reflects infrared, the motion sensor detects this infrared system. Sorry. The human body comes near the motion sensor, as the human body reflects infrared, the motion sensor detects this infrared. The motion sensor detects this infrared and it gives us high signal through the output pin. The high signal is then read by the Arduino. So if Arduino read a high signal, it will give a high signal to the relay model, which means that the relay will turn on, and as a result, the power relay will turn on and it will turn on the water pump for 15 seconds. Similarly, if Arduino reads a low signal, it will make the relay pin low, and as a result, the water pump will remain off. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Here we can see the code of the above circuit. Here we can see a relay pin at the point 12 and two output pins at 2 and 3, which is your sensor input pins. As we know, this project we can use Raspberry Pi to make this project. So for further explanation, I am going to hanging over this session to Gargi. So Gargi, please continue.
Thank you so much, Sunidhi. It is really informative for all of us, I think so. And now I am going to tell you about what is Raspberry Pi, how it comes in existence, and who founded it. So the basically idea of Raspberry Pi comes in existence with the help of Raspberry Pi Foundation, which is a charity founded in 2009 by Eben Upton, who promote the study of basics of computer science. Raspberry Pi is low in cost. It is kind of a microcomputer, or you can say it is a mini computer, which is used to gain the knowledge of basics of computer science. The children all over the world who are not able to purchase many expensive Raspberry Pi is a low-cost credit card-sized, or we can say compact board computer that connects to a computer monitor, or we can connect it with our TV using HDMI cable and uses a standard keyboard and mouse. It can run a host of operating system. Basically, it runs on Raspbian operating system, Android, Windows 10, IoT Core, Libernex, Noops, and many more. Languages supported by Raspberry Pi, as we all know that Python is boom language of this time. So Python, C, C++, Java, Scratch, and Ruby all come installed by default on the Raspberry Pi, which makes this Raspberry Pi as interesting. The people from Raspberry Pi recommended Scratch for younger kids. Other languages that can be used is HTML. So younger kids can also make their websites and web pages with the help of HTML language. If we talk about what is the difference between Arduino and what is the difference between Arduino and Raspberry Pi, how it is different from Arduino and what is the difference. So the main difference is that Arduino is just a part of Raspberry Pi. It can't work as a mini computer itself, but a Raspberry Pi is a mini computer where Arduino can make hardware projects simple. On another hand, Raspberry Pi is good for software applications. And if we move further, we want to know that what are the differences, more differences, and how this is differ. Then we can say that Arduino UNO microcontrollers, not a full computers, where a Raspberry Pi a fully functional computer. Arduino cannot run a full operating system, but simply execute written code at their firmware interprets it. Whereas, on the other hand, Raspberry Pi has all the trappings of a computer with a dedicated processor, memory, graphic driver for output through the HDMI cable. In Arduino UNO, we will see that main purpose of the Arduino board is to interface with sensors and devices. And in Raspberry Pi, it is very easy to install most Linux software. The great difference is that the grade of interfaces with other devices in Arduino UNO, where a full operating system would be overkill for handling simple and response actions. And in Raspberry Pi, independent network connectivity allows it to be set up to access via SSH or transfer files to it. If we talk about what are the advantages of Raspberry Pi, why we use Raspberry Pi. So basically, it is invented by Eben Upton for those kids who can use it at low cost. And many interfaces are provided by Raspberry Pi Foundation, like HDMI, multiple USB, Ethernet, onboard, audio video, camera port, and Bluetooth, many GPIOs, where GPIOs stand for general purpose input output, USB powered, etc. It supports Linux. Obviously, it supports Linux. It runs on Raspbian operating system. It uses Python language to make applications easy. Readily available examples with community support. Developing such embedded board is going to cost a lot of money and effort. So even Upton take decision to make easy for those who are not able to spend much more money on these devices. Now moving further, we have our project that is a smart disinfection and sanitization tunnel. We want to connect it with Arogya Setu app. As we all know that the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is the defining global health crisis of our time and the greatest challenge we have faced since after World War II. Using a phone, Bluetooth, location data, Arogya Setu lets user know if they have been near a person with COVID-19 by scanning a database of known cases of infection. Arogya Setu stores location, data, and requires constant access to the phone. Bluetooth, which experts say makes it invasive from a security and privacy viewpoint. We use the IoT in our project, which is a smart disinfection and sanitization tunnel. The main purpose of this tunnel, when a person passes through this tunnel, the sensor present in the tunnel senses the temperature above 100 degrees Celsius, and then there is a buzzer fitted outside the tunnel blows, and it stores data in Arogya Setu app directly. The person having its temperature more than 100 degrees Celsius, then it directly stores to the Arogya Setu app, and the data is then shared with the government securely. Now, I'm going to end my words. So, thank you. If you have any question, you can ask in chat box.
Thank you, Gargi, and thank you, Sunidhi, for such a highly informative session. I would like to invite Ayushi ma'am to conclude the session.
Hello, everyone. We are so happy and so glad to have students like Gargi and Sunidhi who have shared such an informative slides with us and share informations and knowledge and about the research what they have done in recent days. So we are so happy to have you students. And thank you directors, deputy directors from different colleges, all the dignitaries and head of the departments, different faculty members from the different departments. So I'm very happy to have alumnus like Aditya Pandey. He was very sincere in his college time and he was very informative and a very knowledgeable student. So I'm very glad to have Aditya Pandey today in this webinar. So at the end of the day, I would like to give my vote of thanks to everyone who has participated in webinar and all the students who have asked so many questions in this chat box. Thank you so much. Sonia ma'am, end karu?
Yeah, ma'am. Sure.